All right. Bonjour. Welcome to French 1. I am Madame Rumley. It is Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, week 25, March 22nd. And today's going to be our practice, our conversation, practicing writing, practicing speaking, because the test will be up this Friday. So, le programme pour aujourd'hui est prière, révision et devoir. Let's start with some prayer. Father, thank you so much for today. I ask that you would be in this class, that all of us would be free of tech issues, that we can just practice together, and that the time would be used well to solidify all the things that we've learned, and that each student would really grasp French in a deep way, that whether they use it a lot or a little in their lives, that it would bless them. Be in this time and bless the test coming up. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Tout le monde, levez les mains. Levez les mains. All right. Let's begin with révision les écritures. First, we have John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments. So, Sarah, why don't you start us out, and you can look it up if you want, or do as much as you can from memory, and write the translation for John 14:15. Just curious, are you guys still studying the verses a little bit each week? It's probably much different and much harder now that we're not like having a formal class together. I'm not testing you all the time. But I always feel like the verses are a great way to be exposed to French and practice French that you haven't quite learned yet, or see it in like a everyday usage kind of way. I usually memorize them completely right before the test. I'm a little behind because of my mission trip. I'm trying to get caught up. That's understandable. Okay, here we go. Jean 14:15. Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Perfect. Good job. Well done, Sarah. Hannah, why don't you come on the audio and read it for every... Oh, gosh, oops, wrong one. Practice speaking it.
You want me to read the French, right?
Yes, please. Probably just the French.
Jean 14, si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements.
Très bien. Great job. All right, next. Matthew 5:14. Elaine, go ahead and write the translation for us. So guys, it's pretty crazy. We're coming down to the end here. This is your Unit 6 test this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like always. And then we'll have just Unit 7. Then we'll take the Unit 7 test, and then we'll be done with French. Crazy. That's fine, Elaine. So just a reminder to you guys with this class, this like pre-test class, it's you totally should have your textbooks open like always, and your workbook and all that stuff. And it's totally fine if you refer to it. In fact, I strongly encourage it. But try, if you can, to do as much as you can without referring to it. Have it open so if you get stuck, you can look at it. But do as much as you can without looking at it, and then and treat this almost like a practice test time. I tried translating other verses I like with a combination of master vocabulary in the back of the book and the words we have learned from other verses. That's really fun, Hannah. And I encourage you guys to use the online French English dictionary. Collins has a really good is a really good one. And like if ever you want to translate something or you just wanted to know what a word is and it's not in the master vocabulary at the back of the book, look it up. Look it up. I remember perfecting my French even more just by fiddling with the dictionary all the time. Oh, that's great. An app on your phone, that's even better. Yeah. Just like look things up as you're thinking about it. Then it kind of gets a little internalized as time goes on. Of course, you still need French class to learn how to apply it super properly, but you get the basic kind of thing. Where are the verses on our class page again? They are in our Google document. I think it's at the beginning or the middle-ish of the discussions. Elaine, do you want to just read it and I can have maybe Hannah write it? Our announcements. There you go. That's right. Hannah, why don't you write it out and Elaine can. Yeah, no worries. So this test has 2 verses that are not the Lord's Prayer and 2 verses that are the Lord's Prayer. And then the rest of the rest of the verses for the rest of the year will be the Lord's Prayer. So that should be really fun for you guys to know the whole Lord's Prayer. You'll be able to say a whole little paragraph in French. Vous êtes la lumière du monde. Good job. All right, Elaine, why don't you come on mic and read it for us? Yes. Good job. Well done. Good job, Hannah, too. Monde is spelled with an O instead of a U. Monde. But besides that, you got it perfectly right. Well done. Vous êtes la lumière du monde. Again, I get to be nitpicky with you now. Next, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So, Elena, if you can you write out the translation and then Rebecca will read it? So, this is the first verse of the Lord's Prayer. You there, Elena? Are you working? I don't see the little thing that says you're writing. It's totally fine if you're not. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, cool. Yep, no rush. Did you guys have a good St. Patrick's Day? Awesome. My computer keeps giving me the same message that I cannot connect to the audio. Do you know how to fix it? That sounds um sounds like your computer hardware or software. So let's see. You can try doing the audio setup again. Make sure everything's connected, like your headphones and stuff. Yes, we can, Elena. Thank you. Um, if that still doesn't work, let me know. All right. They're in the announcements. The verses are in the announcements, Alyssa. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Notre Père qui est aux cieux, que ton nom soit sanctifié. Good. So you forgot the word cieux, which means heavens or sky. Same, same. Que notre Père qui est aux cieux, que ton nom soit sanctifié. Like this. Perfect. All right. And then Rebecca, why don't you come on audio and read it for us? Yes. Very good. Very good. Sorry, I have an eyelash or something happening. Really good, Rebecca. Really good, Elena. Well done. And then the last one. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Alyssa, you can go ahead and write it. And then Isabel. Oh, wait. Yeah. And then Isabel, you can come on audio and read it. Okay, so Alyssa, you're looking for the verses. They're in the announcements. I kind of tried to make it, I know it's just not as good as the Power School Learning, but I tried to make it so that the things that you would need to go to over and over and over again, like the verses or like directions on how to get to class and stuff like that, were in the announcements, kind of like the front room, kind of the front thing. The discussion's kind of the stuff where the weekly things are. At least that's what I tried to do. Good. Glad you found them. All right. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I'll have to show you guys my belly at some point. My baby's so wiggly. It's just a wiggle worm in there. My baby's due in June. So I'll be quite full of baby by the time class is done. Yeah. Oh, cool. What day, Annie? Well, my baby's due like early to mid June, so I'm hoping he's not born on your birthday. That would be a long time to wait. That last month of pregnancy is a hard one. You just want the baby out at that point. Okay. Que ton règne vienne, que ta volonté soit faite sur la terre comme au ciel. Good. Matthieu 6:10. So volonté is spelled like this, Volont. Oopsies, wrong way. But besides that, you did great. Well done. I mean, you still did great. One little spelling error. Très bien. And then, I'm sorry, as Isabel was the one who is. There you go. Come on, you can come on audio, Isabel.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Que ton règne vienne, que ta volonté Yeah, Matthew 6, 10.
Good job, Isabel. That sounded really good. Can you say volonté one more time?
Volonté.
Good. Good. Très bien, tout le monde. Très bien. So our verses for this test that you should be able to write the verse and address completely are John 14:15, Matthew 5:14, Matthew 6:9, Matthew 6:10. And these are the Lord's Prayer right here. Just a quick note. I know we're near the end of the semester or near the end of the year, and I'm sure I've said this before, but I hope you notice that you can there's two different ways you can apply yourself to this class and to like to verses specifically. You can just kind of memorize them word for word and be able to write it back out or repeat it, which is good. And then there's like a different level of learning the word that you can use that you can apply where you try to learn what each word means and try to know what you're saying when you repeat it, what each word means. And then so do you see what I'm saying here? There's like you can just kind of learn it to pass a test, or you can kind of spend the time thinking more about it and internalizing it um, to and the second method obviously will serve you better in the long run. But no judgment either way, just a quick note about that. All right, I'm doing the short breath thing again. Whew, pregnancy. Okay. All right, let's move on to Unit 6. I'm actually going to go backwards this time. I'm going to start with the end of Unit 6 and work our way back towards the front, especially because the units kind of go in like vocabulary at the beginning and then more complex grammar. And I want to spend more time on the complex grammar first. And the vocabulary is pretty easy. If we don't have time to get to it, that's fine, because that's just basically like you doing flashcards kind of stuff. So the first thing that we're going to go over is a grammar lesson that we actually did not get to last week on purpose because I didn't want to do too much in last class. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, out of breath. L'impératif is a certain verb conjugation. Okay, so conjugation is just means it's the different forms of verb can take depending on time. Is it past tense? Is it future? Is it present tense? And depending on condition. We have the same thing in English, but like I've said 100 times before, like it's weird when we start learning grammar in another language because it forces us to pay attention to the grammar things we don't even think about in our own language. So the imperative, l'impératif, is the same as the imperative in English. Does anyone remember what the imperative form is in English or French? But what is this? What is this? Ordering people around, basically. That is a great description. Yeah, it's like giving direct orders or commands. I think the word imperative, like someone being imperial or having a very imperative, like, kind of attitude, that I always think of someone who's being really bossy, kind of ordering people around. Imperative is like giving orders. It's telling someone to do something. Doesn't necessarily have to be a person in authority over another person. Like you could ask your sibling to hand you the sock next to them that you're trying to put on. Give me that sock. You're not ordering them around. But you're using the imperative anyways. It is imperative that you do this. That's a great way of remembering it. So the thing about imperative is, actually, even before we look at this, is that we drop the subject. Okay. Again, this is something that we do in English too, so it shouldn't be like too hard to think about, but it's also not something we ever really think about. So our subjects for the imperative are only ever you, um, you and we. Yeah. Hold on, so let me type again. You, like singular you plural you, and us. Okay, and we drop the subject every time. So instead of saying, we don't say, you hand me that sock. That's you singular, by the way. Because we know just based off of the context, it's implied that I'm talking to you. So we just say, hand me that sock. Right? The subject is still you, but it becomes invisible. It becomes implied. It's it in practice, in language, it feels repetitive or redundant to say you hand me that sock. It feels weird, doesn't it? Like if you just say hand me that sock, we know that I'm talking to you. Let's do another example. Or can you actually, why don't you give me an example of you plural you? Like maybe me as a teacher giving you guys directions or something. An imperative sentence using you plural. Perfect. That's a perfect one. So we wouldn't say, I mean, you raise your hands. Feels repetitive, right? I can just say, raise your hands. And the subject, you all know, based on the context, is you plural. Do your homework. Yeah. That's a great one. Can you guys come up with a one where your subject is us? This one's maybe a little harder because it's, but let's see if you can come up with one. Imperative is most often used for you, the pointing finger you, but sometimes it can be you and me. We need to go outside. Go outside. Do the homework. Yeah, here, let me get the one from the textbook. Oh, they don't even have one for the new. Most often, yeah, I was going to use the let's. Technically, the us is still kind of present. Okay, so let's, that phrase let's is actually let us. That's what that means. That's what that means. Yeah, let us go fly a kite. Again, this is not one used as much. Oops, I'm doing franglais here. Us. Okay. We would just say, yeah, let's go fly a kite. So the us is still technically a little bit present with the little s there, but in our minds, the us is kind of disappeared. Again, the us one is a little less used. It's a little more awkward. Basically, imperative is mostly just for you, singular you, and you, plural you. But you get the idea. Up to the highest height, yeah. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like I just thought of it's leaving my brain, of course. Okay, so that's what the imperative is. It's giving a command. It's telling someone to do something. And the subject is always dropped. Okay, so when in French, the verbs like hand me that sock or raise your hands or go fly kite, those verbs have a specific conjugation. It looks different. It is I mean, it's technically different, but thankfully it's basically looks the exact same as the present tense. Except for all ER verbs, including aller, which is irregular, the S of the to form is dropped. So it's easy. This is easy because we have imperative is telling it's a different conjugation. It's a new conjugation, but thankfully it basically looks the same as present tense. The only exception is that for ER verbs, the S in the to is dropped. So the sentence in the present tense, tu parles anglais, with the S here, to make it imperative, we drop we take away the subject, right? Speak English. And then here we actually drop the S because parler is an ER verb. Next sentence, tu vas au café, you go to the cafe. And we want to take away the subject to make it imperative, saying go to the cafe. And then we actually, because it's aller is an ER verb, we actually drop the S in the imperative. So here's the chart. It looks the exact same, without the S. Oh, I don't know. That's funny. I was focusing on the verb. It changed to bibliothèque. I don't know. I must have been tired when I wrote this. All right. Tu parles, parler, parlons. Okay, so it looks the same as the present tense, except for the er verbs lose their s. Finir, tu finis, vous finissez, nous finissons. Vendre, tu vends, vous vendez, nous vendons. Tu vas, vous allez, nous allons. Any questions on this? Okay. Okay, let's put it into practice. Rachel, numéro 1. Katie, numéro 2. Hannah, numéro 3. Rebecca, numéro 4. Alyssa, numéro 5. So we're on page 293. You still have permissions? Good. It's so much easier for me to be able to just leave it open. And we're doing the exercise, l'esprit de contradiction. 293. Here we go. Okay. Make suggestions to your friends about things to do. Your friends will not agree and suggest to do something else. So this is a very practical exercise because I don't know about you, this is how I always talk with my friends. Let's go do this. No, let's go do this. So first you suggest jouons au tennis. So should we play tennis? We play tennis essentially. Non, jouons aux jeux vidéo. Okay, so the example here, I'll do the example at the top. Allons au cinéma. So first, the first person wants to allons au cinéma. And then the person responding says, non, n'allons pas au cinéma, allons à la plage. Non, n'allons pas au cinéma, allons à la plage. Okay, so each of you are writing 3 sentences essentially, and you're putting into practice the imperative in the positive, the negative, and the positive again. And this may feel awkward to speak it, but this is kind of how it's a common way to speak. In French and in English, to use the imperative. So in English we say let's go to the movies or something, but in French they would drop the s altogether. They would drop the s. They drop it more than we do in English. Actually, let me do this one. Oops, okay, here we go. Numéro 1. Jouons au tennis Good. You don't need to keep the E there. Remember, we drop the ER and add the proper endings. The only time we don't drop the E is if the verb ends in GER and we're conjugating for nous. Jouons au tennis? Non, ne jouons pas au tennis. So you crossed it off. Good. Jouons aux jeux vidéo. Perfect. Kind of simple, right? Imperative's kind of simple, but that means it's another another thing to think about when you're doing sentences. Happy birthday, Vari. Joyeux anniversaire. Excuse me. Numéro 2. Écoutons la radio. Non, n'écoutons pas la radio. Écoutons un MP3. Good. Numéro 3. Regardons la télé. Non, regardons pas la télé. Regardons un film vidéo. Très bien. Oh, 17 was my favorite year. Growing up. Dîne au restaurant. Okay, so actually, number 4, you are right if the subject is you, like you're telling someone to go dine at a restaurant. But in this case, we're talking about what we are going to do. So your verbs need to be conjugated for nous. Which the other two are, but dîner needs to be dînons. There, good, good, good. Looking good. Okay, perfect. But remember, we remove the ER and then add the ending. Thank you. Okay. Dînons au restaurant. Non, nous n'allons pas au restaurant. Au restaurant. Au restaurant. Good. I love it when you guys are like right there fixing it in the moment. Cool. N'allons pas au restaurant. Allons à la maison. Very good. Same with you, number 5. You would be correct to say invite Michel if we're talking about, hey, you invite Michelle. But what we're talking about right now is let's invite Michelle. My middle name is Michelle, like that, and spelled in the French way. Invitons, because we're talking about us, O-N-S. Perfect. Good job. Invitons Michel. Non, n'invitons pas Michel. Okay, so we'll make invitons here apply to both. Invitons. Good. Invitons pas. Okay, Michel, and then you want to say invitons Sophie. Good. All right, so that's all the practice I have for the imperative. Do you guys have any questions? This is your moment to kind of make sure it's solidified. Okay, I'm just going to review it one more time really quick. Imperative is the verb form where we tell someone to do something. It's giving a command or an order. And it, and it's really only applies to 3 pronouns: you, singular, you, plural, and us or we. The way the verb is conjugated, and I should say that these are the subjects, but they're always dropped. That's the nature of imperative, that we don't have a subject because it feels redundant. We know if we're saying give me that sock that I'm talking to you. Okay, the way we conjugate the verbs is the exact same as present, which is easy, except for ER verbs, including aller, which is irregular, we drop the S for tu. Okay, so actually we've seen imperative before. Can you guys remember some phrases you've seen with the imperative or heard? Levez les mains. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking to all of you. Is aller the only irregular verb to which this is applied? Yes. The other irregular verbs you've learned are not ER. Very good, you guys. So lever les mains is actually I'll do it this way. Vous levez les mains. Good. And allons-y, that would be like nous, but we don't put the nous. Allons-y. Very good. Va tiens, that would be you, tu vas tiens. Good job. That's probably it. Maybe vas-y. Vous vas-y. Which still has an S on it for some reason. I think that's just the way that one particular expression works. Like, sometimes expressions are just weird in their spelling or grammar because they become a unit onto themselves. Good job, guys. All right, so moving on from imperative. Excuse me. All right. Next, let's go through these. Let's conjugate. We've learned now the. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna do that. Okay, never mind. So tell me, Annie. Why don't you go ahead and write the endings for regular RE verbs? You've learned how to conjugate verbs that end in RE, and then Katie, why don't you do the first three conjugations for ventre, and Rachel, you can do the second three. So I hope you guys have memorized the endings for RE verbs, IR verbs, and ER verbs. Those are really important to know. Looking good. Je vends, tu vends, il, elle vend, nous vendons, vous vendez, il, elle vendent. Okay, Annie. Remember, if the whiteboard's not working for you, you can always write in the chat. No problemo. There you go. Or the drawing tool. You guys see some patterns in how a lot of these endings are similar between conjugations? Good. S, S, no ending. ONS, easy, ENT. Well done, and way to overcome the whiteboard issues. Très bien. Lower your hands, re-raise them. Flash vocab. Everyone in the chat, please tell me, what is the verb that means to wait? Very good. Attendre, kind of like to attend to someone. You're waiting on them. Very good. How about to hear? Very good. Entendre. So we have attendre and entendre. And I would like more people to participate, please. More people raising your hands, more people writing. You will get more out of class if the more you participate. All right. To lose or to waste. Very good. Perdre. So we have wait is attendre. To hear is entendre. To lose or waste is perdre. I love giving little side notes. In France, the bread is so amazing, and a part of what makes it amazing is that they make it fresh every day. The baguettes actually don't taste good the next day. That's just the nature of them. They don't save. So you literally buy bread fresh every day. And so the French were the people who first invented French toast, and I'm sure bread pudding and all those other things, to use up the bread that was lost. So the French translation for French toast is pain perdu, which means lost bread. It's lost bread, so we recycled it in a different way. It does sound poetic. So French. Like French toast better than pain perdu. Anyways, yes, okay, yes, Rebecca's getting ahead of us. Let's move on. What is a visit? To visit, as in a person. We can visite something. Visiter, that's visiting like a place, like I visit Paris. But to visit a person, we rendre visite. Ah, I like that. I like how the French differentiate between visiting a place or visiting a person, between inviting or bringing a friend or bringing a thing to a party. Visiter. I was just about to write that. Okay, so we give a visit to, rendre visite à. That's this is visiting a person, and then visiter is visiting a place. So if I want to say I visited France, or Texas or wherever you're going, you would say visiter. But if I want to say I visited my aunt in France, then I would say rendre visite. Okay, good, very good. To answer. Mine either, Alyssa, don't worry about it. Yeah, I know, random, they just came to mind. Oh, I know why Texas came to mind. I started watching that show Fixer Upper. My husband and I watched it last night. Anyways. Répondre à, yes, is to answer. And the ah is important. You have to have that in order for the verb to work. My friend and my sister were telling me about that show. So, anyways, French. And then how to sell. To sell, I mean. I feel like you've seen this one used much more often than the other verbs in our sentences. Yeah. And I think this is easy too because have you heard of to vent, like a vendor? Like when you go to a market or something and you have vending machine, there you go. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, like a vendor, a vending machine. We don't quite, it's not actually, I shouldn't even say that. It is used in English, usually with people who own businesses and they sell things in their store from different like factories or craftsmen or something. All those factories and craftsmen are called vendors. So it is a word that we use in English too. Vendre. Oh, good. That's what I like. Light bulbs. All right. So those are the common RE verbs. They're all regular. So to conjugate all of these, okay, actually, for you visual people, I'll write this out. These are all regular RE verbs. To conjugate, you do what you always do. You remove the RE. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious, there. And then you add the proper endings, which we just went over on the slide before. And it's perfect timing for break. How does food always come up? This is French class. Food is always relevant. All right, let's have a 5-minute break. We'll come back and continue. See you in 5.